Hello, my name is Dr. Dewan S. Raja. Today I will discuss about the neuroanatomy of the ascending tracts, also called sensory tracts. The ascending sensory tracts of the spinal cord are responsible for carrying sensory information from the body to the brain. The ascending tracts serve crucial roles in sensory perception, allowing us to detect and interpret various stimuli from the environment and by our own bodies. Dysfunction or damage to these tracts can lead to sensory deficits or abnormalities like pain, touch, temperature, pressure, proprioceptions. These one or multiple sensation may be damaged due to lesion in the ascending tract. Ascending tract ascends and the information goes from the periphery to the center, that is to the brain. Suppose sensation from the skin goes to the brain through the ascending or sensory tract. There are several ascending tracts, like number 1, dorsal column, also called medial lemniscus pathway, DCML, spinothalamic tract, from the spine to the thalamus of the brain, Spinocerebellar tract, from the spine to the cerebellum, Spinoreticular tract, from the spine to the reticular formation that is mostly formed in the upper part of the spinal cord, brain stem. Spinotectal tract, again from the spine to the tectum, part of the brain around the periaqueductal area of the midbrain. Spinohypothalamic tract, from the spine to the hypothalamus of the brain. So there are several ascending tracts. So here is the ascending tract. In our next lesson, we'll learn the descending tract. These are sensory, and descending tracts are motor. So the impulse will go to the brain, to the periphery through the descending tract. From the periphery to the brain, the information will go via the ascending tract. Like spinothalamic tract, this is ventral part of the spinal cord, ventral spinothalamic tract. Then we have the lateral spinothalamic tract, Spinotectal tract, ventral spinocerebellar tract. Then again we have here dorsal spinocerebellar tract. And these are the part of the medial lemniscus, that is the dorsal column, medial lemniscus pathway, that is located here. Here it goes through this part. It has two components. One is fasciculus gracilis, the lower part of the body. Sensation goes through this. This is a sensation from the upper part of the body, above T6. This is the fasciculus cuneatus. Again, if we look at that, this is the dorsal root ganglion. Sensation goes there. This is going through that, going to the other side of the spinal cord, ascend, an ascending tract. And it goes through the brain stem to the thalamus, to the sensory cortex. This is simplified way, the route of a ascending tract. Okay, like here, okay, sensation of the light touch and pressure, dorsal root ganglion, posterolateral tract of Lissier. Then it anterior spinothalamic tract goes up to the thalamus here, then it radiates through the corona radiata, ultimately reaching to the central gyrus of the cerebrum. Here, if you go to the pain tract, okay, like spinothalamic tract, it goes to the thalamus here, and it is connected to the reticular formation. Here we'll get a lot of network of fiber, lot of neuron in the brainstem area, upper part of spinal cord, the reticular formation, ultimately going to the somatosensory areas. Dorsal column, medial lemniscus pathway, sensory modalities, fine touch, 2-point touch, pressure, vibration, limb movement, that is kinesthesis. These are the sensory modalities. This function is done by the dorsal column medial lemniscus pathway, or DCMA. Pathway, sensory receptor. What is the origin? From the ipsilateral dorsal root ganglia. What is ganglion? Ganglion is a collection of nerve cells at the periphery. Sensory receptors are what? The Meissner's corpuscle, Pacinian corpuscle is present in the skin. They detect stimuli and send signal to the dorsal roots of the spinal nerve, going to the dorsal gray horn. Okay, then that goes upward because it is an ascending pathway. These signals travel ipsilaterally, that means same side, through the dorsal column, like fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus of the spinal cord. At the medulla oblongata, the fibers decussate, crossover to the contralateral side, and ascends as the medial lemniscus tract to the thalamus. From there, they project to the primary somatosensory cortex in the central gyrus. So, crossing takes place at the level of the medulla oblongata. Okay, so this is the dorsal column medial lemniscus pathway. Before that, it is ipsilateral, then there is crossing at the medulla oblongata level. Then it should go through the thalamus. Thalamus is a great sensory relay station. All sensations should go through thalamus except the olfaction. Olfaction also connected to the thalamus indirectly, but all other sensation, the fiber should go through the thalamus, because thalamus is a part of the diencephalon, and thalamus is a great sensory relay station. Okay, ultimately going to the central gyrus of the parietal lobe of the brain. Dorsal column medial lemniscus pathway. Okay, effects of lesion. What happens if there is any lesion in the dorsal column? Deficits of fine discriminating touch, loss of position sense, posterior column ataxia, clumsy uncertain movement caused by loss of position sense, Romberg sign, okay, unsteadiness with eye closed, used to distinguish dorsal column ataxia from cerebellar ataxia. Okay, here is the pathway like that of the, okay, so dorsal root ganglion, then going to the fasciculus cuneatus. Okay, it may go through fasciculus gracilis also, suppose in the lower part of the limb, going through that. Okay, and or from the upper part of the limb, there are two different paths. One, the lower part, the fasciculus gracilis, upper part fasciculus cuneatus, going up to the nucleus gracilis here, also Here, if you go through the spinothalamic tract, this is the dorsal column system, dorsal column medial lemniscus system. Here spinothalamic tract. Okay, here dorsal root ganglion. It is crossing here. Here it crosses at the medullary level. It is crossing here at the same level. Most of the fiber crosses. Around 10% fiber may not cross. It may go up. Okay. Then go to the lateral spinothalamic tract and ultimately going to the VPL nucleus of the thalamus. Spinothalamic tract is here. If we go there, include lateral and ventral anterior spinothalamic tract, also referred to as the anterolateral system of the spinal lemniscus. Okay. Sensory modalities: pain, temperature, itch, perhaps itch, most likely itch also a part of the spinothalamic tract, light or crude touch, bilateral visceral pain. These sensory modalities are carried by the spinothalamic tract. Pathway: sensory receptors send signals to the dorsal roots of the spinal nerve. These signals synapse the neurons in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord and then cross over, decollate to the contralateral side. They ascend as the spinothalamic tract to the thalamus, where they synapse again before projecting to the primary somatosensory cortex. Okay, so we have three nucleus, we have three neuron, first order neuron, the dorsal root ganglion, then second order neuron, okay, then third order neuron that is present in the thalamus, and ultimately going to the post-central gyrus area. Okay, this signal synapse the neurons in the dorsal horn of spinal cord and then cross to the contralateral side. Sensory modalities of spinocerebellar tract: proprioception, body position sense from the muscle spindle and Golgi tendon organs, from the Golgi tendon organs. Pathway: this tract carry proprioceptive information from the muscle and joint to the cerebellum for coordination of movement. One of the most important functions of cerebellum is coordination of movement. Movement in right direction, right extent, right force. There are two main spinocerebellar tract, anterior ventral spinocerebellar tract. So two spinocerebellar tract, one is ventral or anterior spinocerebellar tract, another is posterior or dorsal spinocerebellar tract. Okay, from the lower half of the body. So this is the medial part of posterior column. Fasciculus cuneatus, lateral part of the posterior column, relays sensory information from the upper half of the body. So if you go here, our first slide, if you go again, okay, so fasciculus gracilis from the lower half of the body, fasciculus cuneatus for the upper half of the body. This is the posterior column, two part, medial part gracilis for the lower part of the body sensation, and fasciculus cuneatus is lateral part of the dorsal column that carries sensation from the upper part of the body. Okay, we got that. So here, fasciculus gracilis, medial part of the posterior column, relaying sensory information from the lower half of the body. Fasciculus cuneatus relays sensory information from the upper half of the body. What is medial lemniscus? Fiber pathway that carry touch and two-point discrimination information to the ventral posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus, originates from the neurons in the nucleus gracilis and nucleus cuneatus, which crosses internal arcuate fiber to form medial lemniscus. What is proprioceptors? Sensory receptors in the muscle, fascia and ligament relaying information concerning the movement and position of the body parts. That is, these are the functions of the proprioceptors. That means position sense and movement sense. We'll go to the other ascending tract, Spinoreticular Tract. The tract carries pain signals, the reticular formation in the brainstem. Reticular formation is a network of nerve fibers as well as neurons in the brainstem as well as upper part of the spinal cord extending to the brain, which is involved in regulating arousal and attention. Spinotectal tract, the tract carries sensory information related to the reflexive movement of the head and eyes in response to visual and auditory stimuli to the tectum of the midbrain, from the spine to the tectum. Tectum is a part of the midbrain. Midbrain has part tectum, tegmentum, and it has the cerebral aqueduct, and we have some nucleus around the cerebral aqueduct. Spinohypothalamic tract. This tract carries sensory information related to pain and temperature to the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is a very small part of the brain, but it has many functions like temperature regulation, pain sensation, hunger, satiety, endocrine regulation, which is involved in regulating various physiological processes, that is the hypothalamus, including temperature regulation and emotional responses. Also circadian rhythm, that is also controlled by the hypothalamus. It is getting information from the spine via the spinohypothalamic tract. And that's all about the ascending tract. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me. Please share that information with your friends. Please support my channel. Please subscribe me. Have a nice, wonderful and blessed day. Bye now.